Hi boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed your long weekend for Memorial Day. We had yesterday off, Monday, May 25th. So today's Tuesday, May 26th, and we are continuing with poetry. Today we're going to look at a couple charts that I prepared, just some more anchor charts that I think good things that we need to know for poetry. Okay, so let's look over here. Up at this chart, it's line break practice. In one of our other anchor charts about writing poetry and what poems look like, there's spaces between the lines, and usually that just tells us that it's time to pause. So let's just take this sentence, raindrops fall gracefully from the sky. We're going to take that sentence and use some line breaks and break it up so it's more like a poem, okay? So we could do it two different ways. Raindrops fall gracefully from the sky. Okay, that's one way you can break it up. This means pause. I kind of take a second. Another way, raindrops fall gracefully from the sky. So you could break it up that way. That is another cool thing about poetry, is that you can kind of play with the words. You can put them where you want. You can make the pause where you want. It doesn't have to be a straight, complete sentence with a period. You are the one that controls where you want your words and how you want it to be heard or read, okay? So that's just some line break practice. So when you actually write a poem, it's kind of free. You can do whatever you want with it, okay? Down here, I wanted to talk about meaning behind poems and music. You're going to see meaning, express feeling and experiences through visual and sensory tools. So things that you see, and then your senses, like what you hear, smell, taste, feel, okay? So those would be things like an image, which is a picture, a metaphor and a simile, which we're going to practice throughout the week, personification, words, just to play on words, line breaks like we just looked at, having beginnings and endings, giving your things a title. Remember I told you before we talked about poetry, the title usually gives you a clue of what kind of poem it is. And then observation. Observation is just looking at things, and you can use those to have meaning for your poem. Or you can take more of a musical way. You can still express your feelings and experiences, but this time it's going to be through auditory, things we hear, musical and rhythmic tools. So that's where you're going to hear more of rhyme and like a repetition or a pattern. There's going to be kind of a rhythm, okay? Like hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. That's kind of rhyme, and it's kind of got like a musical tone. Alliteration, which we'll talk about, words, still using line breaks, and automatopoeia. And we'll talk about what those words mean also, okay? So you can have meaning behind your poem using these types of things, but you can also take a musical way, and that's kind of using these things, okay? So important things that we'll look back on and use, okay? I do want to talk about what simile means, because that's what you're going to be doing for your assignment today, and also what you're going to be bringing to the Zoom tomorrow, okay? So a simile is when we compare two things and we use the word like or as. So you might say, I saw Jane today and she was as cool as a cucumber. I'm comparing Jane to a cucumber, okay? She doesn't look like a cucumber, but she's cool like one, okay? Meaning she didn't get nervous, she was relaxed. So it's kind of weird how we kind of use compare to things like that. Or he was working as slow as a sloth, okay? That would be another simile. But you're really using those words like and as. Those are kind of those key words that tells you it's a simile. Because a metaphor, which we talked about in this chart too, metaphor, simile, is also comparing two things, but you're not using the words like or as. You might just say, he has a heart of a lion, okay? I didn't say he's as big as a lion using that word as. I just said heart of a lion, okay? So it's comparing two different things, but with simile you're using those keywords like or as, okay? So that's kind of going to be your focus. I do want to read a poem before I tell you what your assignment is going to be. This is a quick recorded lesson today because I just wanted to go over some more anchor chart stuff with you and then what you're going to be doing. The poem I'm going to read to you today is out of another one of these books, Poetry for Young People, and these are by Carl Sandburg. It is a collection, so this would be an anthology, okay? So I'm going to read this one, Theme in Yellow. I partly picked it because it's kind of Halloween themed. You know, it's one of my favorite holidays, even though we're getting ready here for spring and summer. But it's called Theme in Yellow. I spot the hills with yellow balls in autumn. I light the prairie cornfields, orange and tawny gold clusters, and I am called pumpkins on the last of October. When dusk is fallen, children join hands and circle around me, singing ghost songs and love to the harvest moon. I am a jack-o'-lantern with terrible teeth, and the children know I am fooling. So there's just an example of a poem. No rhyming. Do you think this one goes with more meaning or music? Probably more of the meaning side, okay? It had line breaks. They weren't complete sentences. So that's one of the poems by Carl Sandburg's anthology, okay? All right. The last thing we need to talk about is your work for today. So you're going to do a simile self-portrait poem, okay? It is in the lesson plans. If you cannot print this out, you can write it out, okay? It's not very long. So what you're going to do is you're going to do, they're kind of fill in the blanks, but if you can't print it out, you can just write out the sentences. So it's going to be about you, and it's a simile poem. So I'm going to read the first 3 lines and what I would put. I'm not going to read my whole thing because I will share mine with you tomorrow at the Zoom. Okay, so the first one says, so it's going to look like this. Let me move my chart. It's going to say, my hair is, and then there's going to be a blank. Like blank. Remember that like or as is similes. My eyes are blank as blank. My nose is blank like blank. Okay? So see how quick I wrote that in case you don't have a printer. Okay? So mine starts this way. My hair is blonde like sand. Looks the same color, right? Chloe helped me pick that one. My eyes are green as olives. My nose is long like, now I'm adding the word a here, so you can do that. My nose is long like a ruler. I mean, I don't know if it's as long as a ruler, but I couldn't think of anything, and Chloe helped me with that one too. So I'm not going to do the last 4. There's 4 more after this, okay? So you're just filling in these words, and at the bottom of your simile self-portrait poem, I want you to draw a picture of yourself. If you have crayons, and you can add color to it, please do that since we do use color in some of these descriptions, okay? So that is your homework. So we talked about line breaks, we've talked about meaning and music, we talked a little bit about metaphors, and talked more about similes today, and I want you to do your simile self-portrait poem, and I look forward to seeing it tomorrow at the Zoom. We are Zooming all together again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So that's for everybody, grades 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Everyone have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.